Hello and welcome to another build guide for the infantry box sets released by Warlord Games. And boy has it been an exciting month for British players. Not only did they recently get a new plastic infantry box set, but now they have a new set of Commandos on the horizon. And much like the old box sets for both of these kits, they are basically the same torsos with different equipment on them to differentiate them between the standard infantry and the Commandos. And this is a pretty well-deserved update here, as the British torsos were very old. And I do believe I complained a bit about them in my How to Build British Infantry Box Sets video. So for new players getting into the hobby, it is a great time to start a British faction, and just in time for the 77th anniversary of D-Day. Now, all that being said, this video is going to cover the Commando box set and the Commando box set only, because despite being a new sprue, you are going to have the same build options for that British infantry box sets. So if you're looking to build that kit, I will refer you back to that video. However, the Commandos are the elite of the elites, and many players would love to have them represented on the tabletop, whether you're fielding a Commando section or an entire reinforced platoon. And as we all know, Commandos are going to be a veteran unit that is going to have a lot more access to special weapons, and that is going to require them to be built differently than you would the standard infantry box sets. And like every other video in this series, I am going to recommend two different ways to build this box set, the first of which is going to be your standard infantry squads. So if you already have a British force, or if you bought this Commando box set along with something like a support group, which is going to cover the headquarters and special weapons you need for a reinforced platoon, this is going to be the build option for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So with 30 torsos present in this plastic box set, we're going to be building 3 10-man squads, who of course is going to have our NCO wielding a submachine gun, followed up by 3 more squad members who will also have Thompson submachine guns. And as always, I would recommend differentiating your NCO from your other squad members by giving him either a piece of equipment or a pointing gesture, which is very bountiful in this kit as you have a hand with a map, binoculars, and then also a sort of go forward signal, which is going to give your NCOs a lot of definition, alongside that plentiful amount of submachine guns. And with 4 Thompsons per squad, that's going to bring us to a total of 12 submachine gun equipped models, which is close to half the box set. But Commandos are special forces, and they do make great use of those submachine guns, especially in high volumes, and when you plan on going into melee. Now, with 3 SMGs per sprue, and 5 sprues total, you really could go all the way with this box set and build 5 submachine guns in each squad. But if you're not building off of an already existing collection, I would say build a few riflemen in here, just so you can reel in the points if you need to. But if you go with my recommended build of 4 SMGs per squad, I would follow them up with 4 riflemen, and these models are going to be your ablative wounds for this unit, which in technical terms is a nice way of saying the models that you're going to take off the tabletop first. But for our last 2 models in the squad, we are going to build a Vickers K light machine gun alongside a loader with the standard rifle. And the Vickers K is a pretty sweet upgrade because for just 5 points more, you're basically going to be getting the buzzsaw rule on your light machine gun, allowing it to throw 5 dice instead of just 4. And the Vickers K is going to be that kind of funny looking machine gun that has the spigot looking barrel on it, along with a horizontal drum mag mounted on top. And I forgot why exactly the Commandos started using this weapon. I believe it had to do something with either being more compact in size, or due to a shortage in weapon manufacturing during the time in which Commandos first started operating. And I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comments down below. Please brush me up on it, as I don't think it was just a higher rate of fire, like some sort of Call of Duty stat. But that is going to wrap up our standard recommended build for this Commando box set. Again, if you already have a wealth of infantry to pull from, go ahead and build the 5-man SMG squad instead of just 4. However, if this is your first box set for this faction, I would recommend just building the 4, as Commandos do get really steep in points. Alternatively, if you guys are building your Commandos to be full-blown designated assault squads, you could actually drop that Vickers K LMG in lieu for your 5th submachine gun, making for a less expensive squad of 5 riflemen and 5 submachine guns, who will be better fit for melee charges and close combat situations. And if you are on the fence between the two, you could always build a squad of each. However, that will move us along to our command and specialist build, and this will be the recommended build for new players who are buying this box set and looking to dive into the game with these 30 miniatures as the basis of their collection. And while I do think this is going to be the less common and less popular build, seeing how Commandos are usually an addition onto a force and not their entire force on their own, I think it is worth going over. So first up here, we are going to have our standard squad that we saw in the previous slide, consisting of 4 Thompson submachine guns, one of which will be your NCO, followed up by 4 riflemen, and then the Vickers K LMG and its loader. And after those 20 models are built, you will be building a 3-man command squad. Of course, one of these is going to be your CO, and I would recommend making him stand out by giving him something like the map or perhaps the binoculars. But the other 2 cronies alongside him can be your standard SMG-wielding commando. And while I do recommend building 3 models for this command squad, I wouldn't always run it that way. I'm a very big fan of running your command squad as just 2 models to confer the small team hit modifier. It tends to make them a little bit more durable to incoming enemy fire, and that extra -1 to hit will often push your enemies from a 6+ to hit to a double 6, which all around usually tends to discourage them from firing at your command. Still, that extra SMG model is going to be valuable should you decide to swap him into a squad and further gear them towards close combat. After that, this box set does include some plastic special weapons here, the first of which is going to be the Piat, which is a shape-charged weapon unique to the British faction that unfortunately has a lot shorter range than the bazooka or the Panzerschreck. Still, the thing packs a punch and can kill almost anything it lands a hit on. And if you're truly building a thematic commando force, this is probably going to be one of your better AT options out there. But of course, this Piat team is also going to have a rifleman who will serve as the loader. And keep in mind, these riflemen can always be put into other squads should you not want to field a Piat team, which can help fluff out your force with standard riflemen. After that, we are going to have another special weapon, one that I usually recommend skipping over, and that's going to be the light mortar. And the reason that I recommend building it in this box set is because, much like the Piat, if you want to run a thematic commando-only list, you are going to be strapped for special weapons, and the light mortar is going to give you access to that high explosive profile for a relatively affordable cost. On top of that, the model for the light mortar is actually carrying it in one hand, presumably running, and that is going to allow you to model him with a rifle in his other arm. So even if you don't end up running a light mortar in any of your lists, you're going to have a WYSIWYG model that can serve either as your standard rifleman or a light mortar team. And once again, the same is going to go for the loader who comes alongside him. So after those 2 special weapon squads are wrapped up, we are going to have 3 leftover torsos, and I would actually recommend building them as riflemen. And the reason for that is because riflemen, even in an elite unit such as Commandos, are going to be the building blocks for a squad. And should you want to save some points on those other 2 squads by taking out the Vickers K or submachine gun, you will be able to swap these models in. But hey, if you're saying to yourself, I'm never going to run that Piat or light mortar team, you could build those 3 extra torsos with submachine guns, and combine that with the 1 extra guy from your command squad wielding a submachine gun, and 4 riflemen from your Piat and light mortar team, and you will have a pretty respectable 8-man squad with 4 submachine guns, who will definitely put the heat on your opponent if they're charging at them. Still, overall, I do think the 3 riflemen is a little bit more flexible, but I wouldn't knock you if you went either way. But with our command and specialist build topped off, that is going to wrap up the video. And long story short for Commandos, just go with SMGs, you really can't go wrong with them, even if you go wild and arm half of this 30-man box with Thompsons. On top of that, it's very cool to finally see the Vickers K show up in plastic. They are super unique to the Commandos, and I would totally recommend throwing them in the squad and having a few on hand in your collection. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. How do you feel about Commandos? Do you think they're super powerful? Do you think it's viable to run a thematic mono commando force? Or should they be mixed with and backed up by other British units? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and until next time, take care.